So my son said something to me the other day that was really interesting. He said, do you realize that all of these videos that you have up, that I'll be able to see them in 30 years and people will be seeing these things many, many years down the road? And then I said, of course I realize that. That's why I actually do this, is I think about, why is there a way that I can communicate to a large audience, to many people, in perpetuity, that they are doing okay, that it just takes one little step every single day, that we all go through these experiences that you don't feel good enough. And yeah, I feel like that every day. I want to quit every day. I want to quit everything and go live on an island someplace. And here's the thing that's really cool, is that he will be able to see all of these videos and see that, hey, you know what? Life is not meant to be easy every single day. It's not meant to be a party. It's not meant to go easy. And that even me, as somebody that he probably looks up to, maybe he does, and that I go through all of the same journeys that he goes through. And there's many days that I don't know what to do. I think it's silly. I think about this all the time. I think, what am I doing? Is this like really silly and stupid to have these conversations with you? Is it stupid for me to be a professor right now when I can go and do something else that's maybe more lucrative? I could become an engineer again. I think about all of these things, and I have all of these self-doubts, and I don't know what is the right answer. And the only option that I know of that works is I think about, okay, what is the alternative? What am I going to do? What is the clear-cut alternative? And often that clear-cut alternative doesn't emerge. And then I just keep doing the same thing. And I have to come to terms with that much of what we know is life is not the same way that you sort of think about as, you know, having these different choices and alternatives, a sort of traditional decision-making model where you come up with all these different choices and you pursue these particular choices. But much of life is you just bumbling along and figuring things out and having something pop up that you would never think about. That is your opportunity. It's not necessarily that you choose these different destinations, but it's just simply things happen. Life evolves. It really is a slow journey. And every day you feel like you don't know what you're doing. Every day you feel like you are bumbling along and you're making all these silly mistakes and everybody's making fun of you and all of that kind of stuff. But you just get up and you keep trying. You get up and you go and you take one more step every day. And you do that in perpetuity. You're the one crazy person. The way that I think about this is that you can have 10,000 hours to do something. And everything takes 10,000 hours. Absolutely everything takes 10,000 hours to do something and do well at it. But you got to be the one crazy person that's actually going to stick with this thing for 10,000 hours. And the problem is most people are not that crazy. You have to be so unusual that you stick with something for 10,000 hours to actually get good at it, that everybody else is going to be like, nuts to this. I'm not going to spend 10,000 hours doing this. And that's literally what it is, right? Like you pick any particular domain, whatever that thing is, and it's always the same experience. It's always the same thing. You want to be a world-class you want to be a world-class writer, you got to write for 10,000 hours at least. You want to be a world-class skier, 10,000 hours. You want to be a world-class whatever, right? This whole Malcolm Gladwell rule of the 10,000 hours actually was Erickson, I believe was the last name that discovered this. Like after a while, it just takes a lot of time. And the thing is yeah, there's this sort of simple rule of 10,000 hours, but there's no explanation of what that actually means to actually get there. And for the most part, it's being crazy. The whole thing is being crazy and pursuing something that just does not make sense to the outside world. Everybody else is thinking like, this is dumb. You're putting yourself through this whole journey and it's difficult. Why are you actually doing this? Nobody understands what you're doing. And you just do it. And that's it. And it's the same thing that I'm going through right now. I think about like, man, this is nuts, right? Like as my son was basically pointing out, like what you're doing is nuts because this is going to stay up for 30, 40, 100 years. And I think, like, isn't that a remarkable thing to show somebody of what it actually takes to do something when you're an absolute nobody and you just take these little steps? And I'm not like somebody that is, dynamic where I'm throwing balls at baskets and it hits doing these crazy shots and all that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm doing. I'm doing the tried and true boring thing of just doing this day in and day out, slowly, slowly, slowly. And the thing is when that first came out, that whole genre, for example, of throwing the crazy basketballs into the dude perfect stuff, throwing the crazy basketballs into a basket, you don't see that those guys would spend days throwing the same basketball all to the basketball hoop. And it would be extremely boring and tedious. You don't see any of that kind of stuff. But I want to tell that story. I want you to see what it actually means to do something and to be a nobody and start off and go towards where something is happening. And frankly, I don't even know if that's ever going to happen. That's the thing. I have all of these self-doubts and I think that this is stupid. But the only way that I know that will actually turn into something is just do it every day. And that's what I encourage you to do, is realize that, and you have to think about, what is the alternative? Is there an alternative? And if there's a good alternative, by all means choose that good alternative that's better than what you have. But for most of us, it doesn't exist. It's a dream in your head of what this thing is. When you pursue that other thing, you want to go, my dream of let's go live on a beach and do the whole island thing. Wait a minute, I go and do that thing and I go there and I realize that, man, there's coconuts falling on the beach. I got to clean up those coconuts. There's all, it's messy. The birds are pooping everywhere. It's noisy out everywhere. Like all of that sort of dream that you think of is not what you think it is. And it's a lot more difficult than you actually think it is. And when you go and pursue it and you try to do that thing, it's always going to be more difficult. And that alternative doesn't exist. It's an imaginary thing in your mind that you think exists, but is not there. So I encourage you, just keep going. One more day, one more step, every single day. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.